Alright, so at this point in the quarter, everyone has already purchased a domain, which should come with a hosting package as well. The examples that I'm going to demonstrate go through Yahoo hosting. That is because I have my domain through Yahoo. So in this case, I'm going to go to hosting.yahoo.com in the address bar. And that will take me to their hosting packages section of their website. So as long as you choose an option with whatever hosting account that has the option to FTP, you will be good to go for our purposes for this course. So for Yahoo Small Business, I'm at the hosting section. I'm going to click on Already a Customer, Sign In. That's a link on the right hand side here. So this is your Yahoo ID. This could be a brand new Yahoo ID that you created for this course, or you could also sign in via Facebook or a Google account. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with my Yahoo ID. And as soon as I do that, then I see any domain or hosting package that I have through Yahoo. So in this case, the very first one is a domain for my sister, backpackinggirl.com. She has like a travel blog. So that one is only a domain. So in this case, I only have the option to view the domain control panel because I only purchased the domain. It's a redirect to her blog. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this one. And the next one, which is Panduce, has the domain, and actually that one is a domain as well because it forwards to my shooting the video hosting account. So I have multiple domains pointing to one hosting account. So I'm going to go ahead and look at the web hosting control panel for shootingthevideo.com. Alright, so as soon as I click on web hosting control panel, I see, basic stats, but that's not really what I care about. At this point, you should at least set up an email address. So if I click on that email there, at a minimum, set up the default email that all communication from the site will go to. This probably, if you're using this as a business, or if you're creating business cards from this site in the future, this is going to be very important. I think that you would personalize this email like steve@yourdomain.com instead of something like impersonal like info or sales@yourdomain.com. But we're going to focus on create and update, which is the next tab over. And as soon as you do that, under File Management Tools here, you're going to see your FTP information. That's going to include a host, which is usually ftp.yourdomainname.com. So in my case, that's ftp.shootingthevideo.com. And my user ID, which is shooting the video. And note that my user ID is followed by the domain. So in this case, it's shootingthevideo@shootingthevideo.com. So if my Yahoo ID was Steve Sosa, then it would be stevesosa@shootingthevideo.com. So don't mistake that for the same thing as an email address because it is not. And then lastly, your password is going to be your unique Yahoo password. So with these three unique identifiers, that's all you need essentially to connect to your site via an FTP tool such as Dreamweaver, or in class I mentioned the tool Transmit. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that open really quick. So Transmit is another tool that lets you sort of batch upload lots of files from whatever directory that you've got into whatever sites that you've mapped on the right hand side. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and use Dreamweaver for all of my FTP uploading. So that's all I care about for the FTP information, or rather all I need from Yahoo. So I'm going to go ahead and hop over to Dreamweaver now. So in Dreamweaver, I've got my site here if I open up the home page. So this is the home page to Panduce Design. But in order to actually, so let's say that I make a change. In order for that change to be live, I need to upload that to the server. And as of this moment, if I go to Manage Sites, so this is going to show you all the websites that you're currently managing. I'm going to go ahead and hit Edit, since we've already gone through the process of mapping to your site. So in this case, I've named my site, I've mapped it to the correct location via that folder icon, and now I just need to hop over to servers. So this is where I'm going to plug in all that information that I had a moment ago via my Yahoo web control panel. So I'm going to hit that little plus icon, which is add a new server. So again, previously we were on the site category, and now I'm hopping over to the servers category. And when I hit the plus icon, you can name this whatever you want. So I might name this Panduse. And this name is really only for me. Has nothing, there's no requirement from Dreamweaver for you to name this in a special way. I'm connecting via FTP. However, I will point out or will let you know that there are multiple methods of connection. SFTP is a securer method of transferring files, and I believe Yahoo is transitioning to this as well. So one, either FTP or SFTP is going to be your method of connection. So I'm going to enter in the FTP address. So if I'm not sure what that address is, I need to hop back over to my web hosting control panel and again verify that. So that's ftp.shootingthevideo.com. I might copy that, hop back over to Dreamweaver, and paste that address. Then I've got my username, and I'll hop back over and copy the username. Whoops. And then go over to Dreamweaver. Alright, so my last thing to type in there is my password. And as soon as I've done those 3 unique identifiers, I'm just going to hit test. So it is attempting to connect, and perfect. So as long as you see this confirmation message that says Adobe Dreamweaver successfully connected to your web server, then you are good to go. If for some reason you don't get this confirmation or it gives you an error message, go ahead and get out of there, then you might check under more options and enable passive FTP. That sometimes catches designers. So if for some reason yours doesn't work, try that first. Either enable or disable passive FTP. And then lastly, I would verify the method of connection from your hosting account. So if it wasn't FTP, then maybe it is SFTP, and test it using that method. So let me go ahead and test that method. So you'll notice that this one's taking a little bit longer. So usually this should be a pretty quick process. So if it starts taking a long time, chances are something that you've typed in is incorrect. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of that. Go back to FTP, test that one more time, and we are good to go. So I'm going to hit OK. Save those settings. Now you see that under servers, this is the default server for this website. So I'll hit save. You'll need to recreate the cache. Just hit OK and then done. So as soon as you've done that, over on the right hand side here, you'll see this option to connect to your remote host. So as soon as you plug that in, you'll see a green light there. Okay, and it is now connected to the hosting account over the internet. So whatever I do here and then upload to my remote hosting will be reflected live on the internet. Now, in order for me to see the changes that I've made locally versus the changes that are remote, I'm going to have to click on this little enlarge icon here. In class I call this the embiggen button. So this will expand and show you a local versus a remote view of your site. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and then zoom back out here. So now you see on the right hand side I've got my local files versus my remote files on the left hand side. So in this case, I mapped to the root of shooting the video website. So I actually need to go in the folder called PAN. On your site, I would suggest creating a folder for every single project that you create. That will allow you, obviously, first to be organized, and then second, to utilize that folder in conjunction with a subdomain. So in this case, I could have a subdomain called pan.shootingthevideo.com or plaza.shootingthevideo.com or steve.shootingthevideo.com. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into pan. Alright, so now that I'm inside of PAN, whatever I drag from the right hand side over to the left hand side, and I have to make sure that I'm actually in the PAN folder because every single site that you manage is going to have a file called index. So if you accidentally throw your index, your development file, into another folder, the results aren't going to be so good. You would be replacing the homepage for the other site with the wrong website. So be very careful that whatever you're dragging from the right hand side is going into a very specific folder or location on the left hand side of the remote server. Once you drag your files there, it will update it. So now you've got the exact same file with the exact same file size or timestamp on it. That is it. I'm going to go ahead and collapse this view. So now I go back to seeing my local files on the right hand side, and I can open up any one of my files across here. And whenever I'm ready to upload them, I would click on that enlarge button one more time and then select or multiply select whatever content I want to drag over into the remote location. That's it. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect by clicking on this disconnect from remote server icon. And the last thing that I would suggest is that if you are in a lab location and you've made changes to your site, you've connected to your server, you do not want to have these connected when you leave, because you don't want the person after you connecting to your website. So to get rid of those settings, you would manage the site one more time. And if it was me, I would actually delete or remove this entire site from this list. Or you can click Edit, hop over to Server, the category there, click on the FTP information, and then hit the minus icon to actually delete that from this site. So then the next person comes over here and hits Manage Sites, and they see, ooh, Steve's got a website there. Edit, and they try to connect to my domain. They cannot, because I've removed that. So just be very careful that if you are connecting to this somewhere that's public, like the lab, that you get rid of it before you leave. That's it. Thank you for watching this quick tutorial on FTP settings, pulling FTP settings from your domain and plugging them into your FTP program, in this case Dreamweaver.